Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Farscape, Season 3, Episode 14. Infinite Possibilities, Part 1. Daedalus Demands. The Ancient returns to stop the spread of wormhole technology, and he needs John's help. A mid-season multi-parter?
Has it been a while since we've had a multi-parter, or am I just suffering from a terrible memory?
There was a two-parter at the start with the Pathfinders and Zan getting killed.
Oh, right. How did I forget Zan's stirring death?
Yep. So I guess it's not quite halfway, but a bit past halfway. I've got a big mission now. They have to take on a Scarran dreadnought.
Things go really sour at the end of this part.
Yeah, it's very Farscape. It's very sort of bad to worse throughout the whole episode.
There are no bright spots here. It's all downhill, and then it ends in a spot where you would think they wouldn't get so low.
Despite how much of a downer this apparently was, did you enjoy it?
I did.
Bringing back a lot of plot threads. Furlough returns.
And Jack, the Ancient.
And Jack the Ancient, yep. And the planet of Dambada. Which I guess means they've travelled around in some kind of massive circle for the last 2 years.
It could happen.
Yeah. There's a lot of empty space in space, so it's easy to get lost.
Also, the return of John dressed up as Scorpius.
That came back, yes. I half expected at the end, I'm skipping about here, but when he says, Officer Soon, in his Scorpius voice, I half expected him to say, "Nah, I'm just kidding." It would be so mean, but they've already done that joke on the show.
Oh, I don't remember who he was imitating, but I remember he was faking a voice.
It was Rigel.
Oh, okay. This is a weird Rigel episode.
What was weird about it for Rigel?
He's totally okay with torturing someone to death.
Yes. He's done this before.
Here it seemed more evil.
He beheaded Durka and carried his head round on a stick.
Oh, yeah. That's, yep.
Rigel is not beyond getting his hands wet. And your theory about secret hero Rigel plays out again, because due to his apparently random and selfish actions, they found out about the Scarrans.
I don't know how much I like my running idea when he's so cool with murder.
They were bad guys.
Yeah, and John and Aaron wiped out a whole platoon of those
killed
Predator guys.
So many. Hundreds.
And I was okay with that.
It was cool at first, but they kept shooting them. I started to think, who would hire these guys? They're useless.
There wasn't even the slightest hint of them being okay at fighting.
They're pure cannon fodder. I don't know where all the dead ones went. There should be hundreds of dead ones lying around outside the base. They shot so many. There should be tons of dead ones inside the base as well. Where did they go?
They should be tripping over dead bodies constantly.
Yeah, they shot about 20 of them inside the base. That would probably start to smell. Well, they're only there for a few hours. I guess it probably wouldn't be too bad.
You would smell the charred remains of chards. Chards? Ah, they're charred.
Yep, chards. And who would hire them if they had a reputation for turning on their employers?
Someone with not a lot of money.
It's true, but Furloug's going to sell the tech and become fabulously wealthy.
So she thinks.
She's not wrong. I mean, Jack makes it pretty clear that it's worth everyone dying for.
Oh, I'm not disputing that it's valuable tech, but she may be stymied in her desire to sell it.
Yeah. Were you glad to see the return of Furlough, a character you possibly don't even remember?
I remember Furlough. She was fun. I like smart characters. And I like that she can go toe to toe with John. She's not being manipulated back then or now.
She's smart. She's maybe even smarter than John, because she worked a lot of this out herself.
It's nice when there are smart characters who are content to exist on their own and don't have some grand scheme and just do their own thing in the corner.
She's also a woman and not conventionally attractive. And that isn't particularly a point. Although John did grimace when she kissed him.
I wanted him to be pleasantly surprised, to have enjoyed it despite his what he expected.
Sure, I kind of thought it was a cheap shot. It is consistent with John, though. He's not the most open-minded guy in the world. Chris got blinded, horribly blinded.
So when he was blinded already, he didn't put the goggles on. I understand he's blinded, but wouldn't you want to avoid further damage? I didn't understand that bit.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Nah, you're already horrifically blinded. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just damage your optic nerves some more.
But he wasn't even blinded from the flare. He was blinded from feedback from Talon.
Oh, right. So
So then they just left the goggles off. And then when Talon's sight comes back, Grace will be expecting his own sight to come back. He's been hit by like 20 flares, so his retina's just going to be destroyed.
It was strange that they had that moment in there, but then they also had a really good moment where someone, I forgot who, was worried about Jack, and then I think John says, "Those aren't his real eyes, don't worry about it."
Surely the Jack alien does have eyes, though. We see
he has to perceive the world somehow.
We see his true form, and he definitely does have eyes. Even if those ones we see are not his real eyes, he still does have eyes. Although I guess if he can transform himself, he probably can't get blinded, because he could just transform his blind eyes back into regular eyes.
Whatever part of Jack is being used to see, he could probably shift it so it's not in direct line with the flare. I don't know.
Who knows?
I just like the
magic.
I like that they brought it up that those aren't his real eyes, because I wouldn't have considered that.
It was awkward when John gave Aaron a kiss. Jack was just standing there watching them. It's the shape of his dad.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to bring this up. So he's not phased at all that he's talking to a perfect recreation of his dad. It just doesn't come up. He doesn't do a double take or say, I have to take a minute here or anything. I know he's been through a lot, but I still think that's really weird.
You know what would be really good? If you accidentally called him Dad. Like the awkward moment at school where you accidentally call the teacher Dad or Mom.
During a really serious conversation about wormhole technology.
Yeah. Look, Dad, I don't know if we can do it. His name was difficult to pronounce.
For you. He seemed to say it just fine.
It's his own name. One would assume he practiced it.
Maybe.
Wormhole tech. John's in big trouble because the wormhole tech is going everywhere. And this raises two interesting plot holes.
Oh?
So the first one, which they sort of addressed, is why did Jack give him the technology in the first place? Like, if it's this bad, why did he give it away?
Yeah, why risk it?
He says some of us didn't want to. Okay, but that's surely the right answer. If you're willing to die and get a bunch of people killed, or, well, possibly killed to suppress this information, why are you implanting it in people's minds?
That's just tempting fate.
The other plot hole, and this is more minor, but I think more of an actual plot hole rather than a weird inconsistency, is that Furlow never had any access to any of the information that Jack put in John's mind. She copied his module and built all that stuff onto it based on the data she took from John testing, and that was before he met the Ancients.
Oh, yeah.
So this is all her own work. It's not really fair that Jack comes along and says, "Oh, you're not allowed this." Like, if it came from him, I could see, it's like your standard sort of patent violation or something. But this is independent research.
She should make more of a stink. I mean, she does protest that, hey, I want to keep this and sell it. But now that you point this out, she should have been way angrier.
She should have been. She did pull a gun on him. And to be fair, he's some sort of higher evolved, not godlike, but getting there kind of alien. Plus, there's a whole of the Scarans coming, so it's not like she can really bargain in this situation. Rigel got shrapnelled.
I didn't understand that.
Some shrapnel hit him.
Look like glass?
Yep, it did look like glass. The glass can be shrapnel.
I know, but so the explosions we were seeing looked indiscriminate, so I couldn't tell if he even got hit. The little, I don't know, closed off thing he was in, the turret. So when he suddenly looks down and he's injured, I was very surprised.
He was surprised too. But I don't really get what doesn't make sense. I mean, the angle is kind of weird.
I didn't see damage done to the turret thing.
Yeah, because it's made of metal. If it was made of Hynerian flesh, it would have been peppered to bits.
So where did that shrapnel come from?
I don't know.
He's enclosed.
Yeah, it could have ricocheted off the inside of it. The angle was weird.
Okay, let's end that there. The angle is weird.
Is this R.I.P. Rigel?
No.
It's the same injury he got a couple episodes back anyway, so he'll be fine.
He has experience getting mortally wounded in that very spot.
That's true. He is an experienced gut spiller.
Maybe Stark will give him terrible stitches again.
Stark is busy shuffling Chris around. John and Harvey have a big rumble on a roller coaster.
Weird place for a rumble.
It was originally going to be on a river, but they changed it to the fun fair because that's more fun. The clue's in the name.
These scenes with Harvey in this episode taught me that under different circumstances, John and Scorpius would be friends.
You think?
Yeah, when they don't have reason to be butting heads, they get along famously.
They do have some traits in common. They're both quite pragmatic, like, here's the answer, we should do this kind of thinking.
That, and they're both very driven. Once they've decided something, then they focus on that. Determined.
Perhaps, although a lot of these things can make major disagreements, which I guess we've seen. I think for them to be friends, Scorpius would have to be considerably less nasty.
And Harvey is, maybe because he doesn't have an outlet to be nasty. He's kind of trapped in John's head.
I like when they were hanging off the roller coaster. That looked very realistic.
It did. I kept looking for obvious signs of safety harnesses and stuff like that, but I couldn't really spot anything.
It did the typical thing where we couldn't see their faces in the wide shots, but
Of course.
The close-up was clearly studio or green screen. But they still got some dudes up there on a roller coaster by my estimation, which was pretty exciting.
It's so much better to do that than crop in some people into an image that's obviously not in camera.
We say this is probably like all green screen or something. And finally, John ends up scorpified.
Furlough will come out of the shadows and kick John Scorp in the head and save the day.
Would that help?
I don't know. It would help out Aaron not be choked.
Oh, sure. One thing that I thought when he gets scorped is that this shouldn't make a huge difference because Scorpius also doesn't want the Scarens to get wormhole tech.
I think Harvey, above all, wants to exist, and so he will kill them if he needs to.
I think he possibly. If it was Scorpius, the real deal Scorpius, I think he would be willing to put his life on the line to stop Scarens getting wormhole tech.
That I can believe, but in this episode alone, Harvey emphasizes how much he keeps telling John, hey, there's no reason to get rid of me. I'm happy to coexist. It's fine. I will kill you if you try to get rid of me. So he really wants to exist.
Yeah, his motivations are not the same as Scorpius's anymore.
He did his duty as a Scorpius surrogate to get that info, and now he's splintered off and become his own thing. His own person.
I still think he wouldn't want the Scarens to get wormhole tech. I mean, that comes down to survival as well. He knows as much as Scorpius that the Scarens are a scourge upon the galaxy or whatever. So, if he wants to survive a long time, ideally...
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. But he's not really Scorpius. He doesn't... I don't know, it's so tricky.
It is definitely different from if it was genuine Scorpius. Because, yeah, Harvey is a different entity. I have some unit news.
Is it for the nuclear stuff? I can't remember.
Yes. Partanium. Some form of nuclear fuel.
That can be handled without danger?
No, with danger. It was Jack who said that he's probably immune to it.
Oh.
So in Green-Eyed Monster, they were using cesium. Now they're back to magical space elements. So that's good.
I prefer the magical space elements.
Yeah. With space ones, you can't poke holes in it. Like, no matter what they do with Partanium, I can't turn around and say, hey, that's not how radioactivity works. Because
Actually,
it's Partanium, which is an unknown, magical, fictional thing with whatever contrived rules they need to dream up for it. Like, if they took the cesium and did silly stuff with it, that they would be culpable for that. But if they make up the units, then they have free reign. Do you have a quote from this episode which you'd like to share?
for everything there is a season, a time to keep and a time to cast away.
A season of death?
Yes. You cracked the code. John has become aware of episode titles and season titles. Wait, season titles. He knows this is season 3.
Well, in Season of Death, the episode, he did say pretty much the same thing. He said, for everything there's a season, a time to be born, and a time to be born, and a time to die.
Oh, I don't even remember that. I didn't realize this was a line that echoes an earlier one. I actually don't like this line. I picked it because it sticks out weirdly.
I like it. It's good.
It seems un-John-like.
Why?
It's very formal. It's not loose and fast.
Yeah, no. He's quoting a song, though.
Is he? I thought it was from the Bible.
Okay, it's in how do you say it?
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes. I'm from the UK. We don't really read the Bible.
It's from King James. You're responsible for King James.
He just invented a new Bible because he was gay. That is actually true. Oh, no, okay, the song actually quotes Ecclesiastes from the King James Bible. It's the Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, classic 60s song. I think it was in the film Forrest Gump, so it's got to be a classic.
I'm finding out too much about this line that I didn't know.
In my mind, John was paraphrasing this song.
That seems like something John would do.
Because he doesn't seem like a kind of Bible quoting guy.
No, and that's why it was weird to me, because I wasn't aware of the song, so I thought, okay, he's quoting the Bible, that's strange. He's not... Wait, he is from the South.
He's from the South, yeah, but he's a rocket scientist, a physicist. He drops pop culture references all the time. Has he ever quoted the Bible before? Like, the only Bible quote I could imagine him coming out with is Ezekiel 25:17 from Pulp Fiction. That would be credible. And I imagine he'd probably know, like, John 3:16, because that one is very popular.
I could imagine him making an eye for an eye joke while talking to Stark.
The half-blind leading the blind.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That wasn't him, though.
No, because John's not a dick. Rigel kind of is.
Fine, it's a good line. And it's from a song. Go, John. I think this John might die.
Whoa, what?
Scorpy has taken over, and there's another John anyway. And if this John dies, it's more devastating because this is the one that's bonded with Aaron.
Back to your classic fall in love and die theory of television, which I say that, it sounds disdainful, but I 100% agree with your theory.
His chances of dying have been considerably upped.
He has to fight a Scarran Dreadnought. The other John just has to fight hangovers. So if I had to bet, I'd know which one I'd pick.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be so sad. They spent all this time talking about how great the other is, John and Aaron.
Might not be sad. What if he got killed because he got shot in the butt? I mean, that would still be sad, but it would also be really awkward. lying there clutching his butt. Maybe we should go on to the next episode.
I think so. I think it's time.
It's time to cast away that idea.
We just did. We casted it.
Oh, very clever.
No.
Okay,